Hey there, I'm Sarita, and you're about to experience the modern approach to well-being where you get to establish the best and most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I'm on a mission to help you declutter energy and reclaim your power so you can be a magnet to what you desire. If you're looking for the optimal blend of mindset and healing, you're in the right place. My goal in this podcast is to share tools, resources, and practices that will help you along your healing journey. I'm so excited to be here with you today, so welcome to Back to Here with Sarita. Let's get started. You know, the theme for 2024 is all about abundance, and so these chats are called abundance chats. Last year, 2023, were all about self-love and the self-love journey, even though that theme can be intertwined within all of this. But this year, we are focusing a little bit more heavily on abundance, whatever that means to my guest, and it's room for interpretation. So I have a beautiful guest here, Shannon Hunter. I'm really excited to introduce you to her. She's somebody that I actually just met in person recently, and we'll be talking about that. Shannon is a seasoned professional with over 15 years of extensive experience in aesthetics and in the medical industry, and she's the CEO of Gray Aesthetics, and she leads with a unique blend of expertise and innovation. With a bachelor's degree in health science, Shannon combines her passion for wellness with her dedication to aesthetics, ensuring the highest standards of patient and result-driven satisfaction. Her commitment to excellence has earned her recognition as one of the top 10 providers in the nation for Trilift, reflecting her unparalleled skill and dedication to her craft. Shannon, I'm so excited for you to be here with me today, and this is your first episode, podcast episode in general, interview,
ever,
things.
ever, brand new.
So exciting. Super exciting.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, me too. And we, like I said in the intro, Shannon and I actually connected through would you call it organization? Like a group called Modern Day Wife.
Yeah.
And they basically put on events all around Southern California, Arizona, I think even in Canada as well. So I've gone to a couple of their events, and I am one of their podcast co-hosts, which is really cool. So it's really lovely that they actually will email a bunch of different people that are interested in their network. And then some people reach out to me, and Shannon did. So I was like super excited.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was so fun to be a part of their events too. I really loved it.
Yeah, it was, so this last event that Shannon and I actually met in person was in, Beverly Hills, I think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the London.
At the London hotel, really cute, like boutique-y kind of hotel. And it was a beauty and wellness expo, and it was spring. It was beautiful. I actually had the honor of walking in the fashion show. Did you get a chance to see it?
Cool. No, I was so busy. I missed everything. I didn't even get to mingle and wander around or do anything. I was just go.
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful. I saw it set up and everything, and I saw the videos, but cool. I missed it. Yeah.
Oh, bummer. Well, we'll go over in a little bit about what Shannon does and the reason why she was really busy during the event. She'll tell you a little bit more about her expertise and what she does. But to start off with, Shannon is an Aries as well, which is exciting. Yes. So happy belated birthday. Mine's coming up on the 10th. So if you're hearing this when it drops, my birthday's already occurred. But it's just nice to connect with somebody.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. With the same astrological sign.
Yeah.
So Shannon, it was really beautiful connecting with you in person and stuff. And I would love to share your kind of where or how you got to be where you are now, because it's such a really cool industry, and I haven't had anybody on my program yet that does what you do, because it's very unique, and I think it's something that is all natural, which I really like as well. So if you can tell me a little bit more about kind of the history of how you got to be where you are now, and then what you actually do.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a crazy journey. My whole life, I always wanted my own business, and I've always like done entrepreneurial stuff. Even when I was a kid, like I made my parents actually. I don't even know how old I was, like maybe 10 or 11, buy chips and soda, and I would sell them to all the construction workers in my neighborhood. So, always been a go-getter. But anyways, fast forward, I put myself through some medical school. I have a bachelor's in health science. I wanted to be a doctor at one point, and then my life just kind of took me on this crazy journey. I ended up doing like ultrasound, and then I got into medical sales, and then I was helping consult for other plastics, derms, and med spas. And I've been in the aesthetic industry since like, oh, I don't know, 2012. And I just knew that I belonged here. Like, I love this industry so much. I'm crazy passionate about people, and I really just love helping people. And it's fun to help them in this industry because you see, like, it's very emotional for people sometimes when they come in here and they're looking for something. Sometimes they don't even know what they're looking for, but it's something, right? And then to be able to provide them with that result is the best feeling. So, I was actually boxing for like the last couple years, and my trainer, I would always tell him like I had all these dreams and I wanted to do this and I want a business, and finally he was just like, do it. Like, go get a business license. This is how you do it, and then start your business. And I was like, what? So I literally did it that day. I got a business license. I figured out my name. My son's name is Grayson, and so I named it Gray Aesthetics after him.
I love
And
it.
yeah. And then I literally just started my business. Like, I had no space yet. I had no clue what I was doing. I just had been in this industry for so long, and I loved talking to all the patients and like just helping them, and before and afters. Like, results is, I've always been results driven. I've been in sales my whole life, so obviously like results are number one. And so I knew that in my business I wanted results to be number one. And then I just like had some couple of bumps on the way. I actually had a location before that turned out to be not our location, but it was a blessing in disguise because now we have this beautiful location in Newport Beach. And then yeah, we're here. It was a
Oh, that's
crazy journey.
so. Oh, that's so amazing. That's really neat. And I want to go back to what you were talking about with well, I love the name.
Thank you.
I didn't realize that. That's really cool that you named it
Yeah.
after your son, so it's like honoring him. How old is
Yeah.
he, by the way?
He is 4.5.
4? Oh my gosh, such a
Mm-hmm.
cute age. That's a great
He's
age.
big too. He looks like he's probably 5 or 6.
Oh, funny. Um, I want to go back to what you were saying when you were commenting on how you really love like the transformation and seeing like the emotional result of
Mm-hmm.
somebody. I I have I believe that I had somebody last year who was a nutrition coach and like actually saw like weight loss coach and things like that,
Yeah.
and it was one of those things where you can actually visually see the thing. And so I've had other people on my program where they're like um where there may be like spiritual coaches and things like that, and so like you don't necessarily like visually like see, you can't take a picture, before and
Yeah.
after. Sometimes you can,
Yeah.
but and so the result is still the same because it's like you see the person as like a different. So what does it give you like as a provider to that? Like how does it like what does it provide you to help you keep going in when you see like a transformation like that in somebody?
Yeah, I think that in general, God kind of created us to be these like nurturers and giving back, and not necessarily with money, but with our time too. Like, just giving back, right? We were created to connect and give to people. So in my whole life, I've always felt the best being able to connect with someone. And whether it's like the simplest advice, like on diet and exercise, or how to tie their shoe, like anything, it could be anything. Even like when I used to drive around as a rep, I would always carry snacks and water in my car, and just being able to give someone who had nothing water and something to eat, like that just always felt good. So when it came to my business, results is a part of obviously what we do, but having that emotional connection with my clients and hearing their story and then being able to provide them with a result, And then like seeing their face just so happy and sometimes emotional, and then having them tell me like, you actually listened to me, like you didn't try to oversell me, like you paid attention to what I needed and then you just gave me exactly that. And even if I can't give you that, like I'm happy to refer you in the right direction. But I feel like that is really like what drives me, like makes me so happy. And it is why Gray Aesthetics is here today. My staff is all on the same page. We care about everyone that walks in here, like all walks of life. We just really care about people and giving them the result that they're looking for,
I
even if it's
love
just
that.
therapy.
I love that. And that's, and I love that you are bringing that experience to people, because for somebody that may be listening to this who doesn't live in like Southern California, who is not like, I mean, we have a different lifestyle here, right? We're
Yeah.
very much into like nutrition and wellness and emotional well-being and all the things. And when I go to other cities and other places, it's like not the same. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I know people have this vision or experience or like kind of this story in their head about what Southern California is, they do. And I've talked to people like this because I used to be one of those people. I grew up in the Midwest, so I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're
Me too.
all.
I know.
Oh, okay, so you know.
Yeah.
So they have this like kind of story in their head that like Southern Californians are kind of like superficial and they're just like
Mm-hmm.
yogis and blah, blah, all into their own thing, and right, like
Yeah.
we kind of have this image that is portrayed, but in reality. And so when when I first stepped in like a medical spa or one of those a place, an aesthetics place, I had the conditioning or belief that it was going to be like, oh, you're like a doctor's office, basically. Oh,
Yeah.
you're just a patient, you're coming in, you're just getting your treatment, bye bye, you're just a number, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really love about even the medical profession in general. People are starting to recognize that, yeah, there's a story behind the face and
Yeah.
behind the body and behind like, the actual experience of the person. And everybody does want to be listened to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why people are moving towards like holistic doctors as opposed to the traditional medical doctors. They have to, and unfortunately, like there's so many great MDs out there, but they have to follow a regimen, they have to follow a protocol, and that protocol doesn't fit the human being anymore. Like, we don't want to be a number and stamped you're on your way. Like, we are all different. There's no cookie cutter medication for everybody. Like, there's no medical pathway for everybody. And so I think it is great that more people are stepping out and going to these wellness centers and going to holistic doctors and people that have the time to sit there with them and just, listen. And I feel like when people actually listen, some people might be coming in there for one thing, but they don't even need that. They need something else. And then if you're paying attention to that, they're like blown away, like, oh, wow, yeah, you're right. Like, I do need that. So
Yeah.
I agree.
Just like what you were saying is like sometimes it's like a therapy session,
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
person, for the patient that just needs to come out and like unload a couple things that maybe they're going through at the moment.
Yeah, my client literally today that I had right before you, she was so cute. She came in and she's like, wow, I came in here for the skin tightening treatment, but I got a therapy session out of it. And that was like, that was better. Like, I'm like, me too. Like, we have so much in common. And it was just, I was like, this is why I'm here. I love all of it. It's so cool.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, I feel like that when I go get my hair done, like with
Yeah.
my hairstylist, like
Yeah.
it's so fun to be able to have those connecting experiences. I believe that's really imperative. I mean, definitely with men, there's like work to be done in that area because they're not socially conditioned to like talk, talk,
Yeah.
talk and hang out and do all like the things, right?
I
With women, like it's just been part of our like innate culture for like since the dawn of time, where we like need to connect, we need to have like community, we need to have
Yeah.
like those things. And so it's like it fills up our soul, it fills up my soul, I should say, from my own experience. It fills up my soul every time I'm able to connect with somebody, which is part of the reason why I do this podcast, because it's
Yeah.
like so fun to be able
Absolutely.
to have these moments. And yeah, it's just imperative.
Yeah, that's
um
actually one of my favorite things about my previous job when I was out in the field meeting all these doctors and working with all the med spas and derms and stuff like that. Like, meeting them was 90% of the fun part of my job. Like, talking to them, listening to their story, how they built their business, how they went through the trials and errors, and just having that connection with him. Like, that was always like the best part. So then
Yeah.
now that I'm here, it's still my favorite part. I
Yeah.
actually did a personal there was like this personality test that I did, or actually not even,
Oh,
I guess it
cool.
was a personality test, but it's called the Strength Finder 2.0, and it's a book that you can buy. And then you take this like quick little quiz online, and then it tells you like your five strengths. And one of my five strengths was relationship builder. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Love it. I love those resources that we have. There's so many like tests you can take
Yeah.
like online. It's really neat. What was it called again?
It's called Strength Finder 2.0. Mm-hmm.
Strength Finder
It
2.0.
comes in a book. At the back of the book, there's like a little code, and you enter it on the computer, or you take the test on the computer, and then it gives you the five strengths. And then the book has every strength in there, and you just pick out your five and you read about it. So I read a lot of business books my whole life. I've always been interested in this field. But it's cool because in general, most people want to work on your weaknesses. Well, like if you suck, you don't want to feel like you suck all the time. So when you have this book, you're working on your strengths and then you build those up. And whatever those strengths are, you should pursue. Not like it's nice to improve yourself and maybe you lack somewhere, but it was a blessing for me. And it was also a confident booster because I was a maximizer, which means I maximize my time really well. And I am. I'm an activator. So whenever I want to like figure something out or I want to do something like start this business, I need to do it or it's gone. And then my relationship builder, like I love building relationships. And then another one was like communicator, and I don't even remember what the other one was, but it was nice because I was like, oh, I am all those things. And now that I can focus on that, I can find something that suits my lifestyle that will make me like improve instead of being like, man, I suck at this job. But
Yeah. I love that. It's really, when you take those tests, it's like really reconfirming, like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I am a badass bitch.
yeah, awesome.
Like, I love it. Yeah. And because I've been in the personal development community for a little while now, spiritual community, and I like how it has been transitioning a little bit in that way where people are recognizing that focusing on your strengths is actually better because we've had this like old conditioning. I remember that like as a kid, like growing up and like sports coaches and things like that. It's like,
Yeah,
focus on your like weaknesses and try to get those weaknesses strong and stuff. It was like just the mentality of like, oh, your muscle is weak, so build it up, right?
yeah,
When like in reality, yeah, everybody has certain gifts that it's like take those gifts and run with it. And that's been my entrepreneurial journey when it comes to like this podcast and other things that I've done, where I've just been like, okay, like learning as I go and kind of figuring out, okay, all
yeah,
right, this is what I'm like good at. This is what I am good at, but I don't like doing, and I can pay somebody
yeah.
else to do it.
Seriously, I'm like
Yeah.
admin work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely a trial and error, which is actually segues into my next question. You were saying how you were taking boxing. By the way, that's awesome. Like,
Thank
boxing is such
you.
a great like outlet, and then
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
boxing coach was like telling you to get the LLCs. You can like
Hmm.
and you were like, oh, I'm just gonna make this happen like today, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. It was crazy.
So
So
cool.
he's kind of in like a similar position. So he was a boxing trainer for years. And then he had an idea, him and his partner had an idea to open up this place called Box House and build this community of boxing and not probably traditional boxing, but to make it so everyone felt comfortable and safe going in there. And it wasn't like a sweaty gym. It was this very chic, cute boxing gym. So like all the Newport moms go there and you go there and it's such a beautiful community. Everybody who was like looking for friends or looking for that outlet or just wanted to like kick some ass or like sweat, like whatever your thing was that you went in there, they ended up like building a whole motherhood of friends and like all kinds of stuff. It was really cool. But so he started from, just being a single trainer to building this beautiful gym, and now they're franchising it. And it's called Box House. It started in Newport Beach, but he was my trainer before he started that. So I got to see him blossom. And him and his partner, they just took the leap of faith, like it's true. You'll never get anywhere unless you really try and you take that leap. And until you take the leap, you have no idea what life is going to hand you. Like, I had no clue what the F I was doing. Like, I cry every day for 2 years building my business and trying to figure out all the shit. And like, I'm lucky that I had the support system. Like, my fiance is, he is so amazing. I literally wouldn't be here without him. And then I have a consultant who like holds my hand and helps me with operations, because I feel like I'm really good at relationships and I know how to, like, I guess sell in a way. But running a business, like, I never ran a business. I don't know how to like hire people. I just like, oh, I really like you. I feel like you would fit in here. So having that support system and stuff and like putting the things in place is really crucial. But you just gotta take that leap.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
started with me boxing.
That's so cool. What a cool story. You actually answered my question. That's hilarious. So
Okay.
the one that I was going to ask you. But no,
That's funny. I was like, maybe she forgot to ask it.
no, that's exactly the question I was going to kind of go forward with. But yeah, such an innovative idea about like the boxing thing, and seeing you were able to see like him grow, and I'm sure he's been able to see you grow. And what's coming to mind with like the entrepreneurial experience, and it's not my own original like thought or idea, but it's like building the plane as you fly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just it really is, you're just really figuring like shit out as you go.
Yeah.
And you're right, like it can be a very tumultuous journey, but it's also a very rewarding journey in
Yeah.
itself. I was posting about that just recently in my stories, where I was like, I have never been pushed so hard than I have
Oh,
in
I
the
know.
last like 3 years of my life. Just going
Yeah.
through like not only my healing, but just kind of figuring out like my identity with like this podcast, and then I've done some coaching as well, and what that all means, and like having it all come together. And we've been socialized to believe like we need to be in like a certain box, especially as a woman,
Yeah.
like it has to be look like this, like my
Yeah.
business needs to look like, because there's such, if you think about it, business is a very like kind of it is a very masculine idea, like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
business endeavor. I mean, like businesses, I mean, they've been around for centuries, but they've been very like it's been very like a masculine approach. And I think just recently, within the last couple decades, honestly, like women have not only become business owners, but just like push the boundaries of like, okay, what does it mean to be a business owner? Just because my male counterpart does it this way doesn't mean like I need to have that same exact structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes it's a little bit easy. I don't want to say easier for men, but it comes more naturally because they're such power drivers. And not all women are like, we're more nurturers. So it's, I feel like for me, it's finding that balance to like be a power driver, but still have my like ethics and morals. Not that they don't, but like, it's very hard running a business and making tough decisions and hurting people's feelings even though you don't want to. Like, you wear all these hats as a woman and a mother anyways, and then you get a business in the mix and you're like, ooh,
I know. How
this
much
is
more of this,
me.
right?
This is the new me.
Right. Which goes
Yeah.
back to like what I was saying about the belief that it not only needs to look a certain way, that we need to put ourselves in these boxes. I think I don't know if you have read Marie Forleo, I think that's how you pronounce it. She did the figure outable like book. I forgot what it was
Oh,
called,
okay.
but really good. But one of the things that she was like saying in her book was how she's like a multifaceted entrepreneur, and that she has like her dance background, and she's got like business background, and she, or not even business, sorry, like dance background and some other backgrounds, and she just kind of went with things and like ran with it. And she was like, how does my dance like incorporate into like all the things that I am, right, in the
Yeah.
structure? And I was having this conversation with one of my friends, who's like, she's an interior designer. She has like her real estate license. She's also like a wellness consultant. She does all these things, loves feng shui. And she's just like, I've been conditioned to think like all these things are separate, but it makes like it comes all together in me uniquely. So it's
Yeah.
like you can make like the belief that your business or who you are, you're like all over the place. Oh my God, she's a scatterbrain. Like she's all over. Like what does she stand for? I stand for me. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Try living a day in our life. It's hard.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
my whole life have always been like, oh, you're so lucky, you're so thin, or you're so fit, or you're so lucky, you're this, or your skin is so perfect, you're so lucky. Like, I am literally not lucky. If you knew what my childhood was like or growing up, and like, I moved to California when I was 21, 22 years old with literally $300 to my name and my car packed full of my clothes and my dog. Like, I had no idea where I was going. And then I worked out every single day of my adult life to get a fit body. And then my skin is a lot of work too. Like, I know I'm maybe lucky because now I own a spa and I don't have to pay as much to do this to my skin, but I still have to pay to do this to my skin. Like, I'm still like habitual about my skincare. I still do microneedling religiously. Like, I'm obsessed with our tri-lift. I actually don't even get fillers because I have tri-lift. So, like, all of the stuff that everybody goes through that thinks that we're lucky, and not just us, but even people in general, like, it's not luck, it's hard work, and it is blood, sweat, and tears. And like, to get there, if you can put in the work, like, anybody can get there. And like how you were saying with your friend who, was had a dance background and now she's an entrepreneur, like, I've seen literally strippers and drug dealers give up their crazy life and start crazy successful businesses. But it's because that's they were a hustler then, and now they're a hustler with the business that they're doing now. So it's like anybody could really do it. They just have to put in the work for it. And I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Like, I knew it was going to be hard, but this is definitely the hardest thing next to having a baby that I've ever done. But it's also the most rewarding, and I literally wouldn't change it for the world. And even if I don't think I'll fail, but even if that happened, like, I would get back up and do it again 100 times.
I love that. Perseverance. That's so
Yeah.
true. That is
Yeah.
so true. It like really does condition you to become like a better version of yourself, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Our stories are so similar. What a trip. Okay, so you said Ohio? Is that where you're
Idaho.
from? Idaho.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, girl.
I know. Cool.
Idaho. So I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and that's so interesting because at 22, I threw everything in my car, and I only knew like one person when I moved out here. It was one of my friends from college, and she just on the fly because I had a job kind of lined up in Texas because I thought that's where I was going to move. And then her family was like, had said, hey, like they're moving from Tulsa over to San Diego, and she was like, hey, like why don't you come and hang out for a summer in San Diego? Maybe you'll fall in love with it, like get a,
Yeah.
whatever,
Where
And I
moved.
was like, I was like, sure, okay, let me do that. So I threw everything in my car that I thought I needed for like, a good 3 months, which wasn't a lot. I threw everything in my car and like took a couple of days and I drove out here. Literally fell in love with it as I drove into San
Oh,
Diego.
I know, it's so pretty.
It's so gorgeous. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because I didn't get a job until maybe like a couple months in. So I was like laying
Yeah.
on the beach and I was like, this is the lifestyle. Everybody just lays on the beach all day. And
The California dream.
the California dream. Like, that's not reality. But I mean, granted, the beach is in like a 5-minute walking distance for
Yeah.
me. Like, I love it. And I do live kind of the California dream in essence. But yeah, I fell in love with it. So I feel you right there about like, and I, same thing, didn't have a lot of money. And it was just like navigating a new place, like not knowing where I was going and
Yeah.
trial and error, like a bunch of different things. So yeah.
That's I literally my first spot when I moved back down. Well, so my family's all from here. I would lived here until I was like um first or second grade, and then we moved up to Idaho. But when I moved back down here, it was San Diego also, and I loved it so much that I was like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to stay here. And luckily, I still had family down here because my amazing cousin Jennifer allowed me to live with her for a couple of months. I had a place in San Diego. It fell through, and then so I was lucky enough to stay with her for a couple months till I got back on my feet. But it's crazy because I literally came here with nothing, with no idea what I was doing. Put myself through college, did all this stuff, and now fast forward all these years later, I'm a business owner, and I'm like, I trip out sometimes because life is just you. I'm actually laughing on Monday because I'm getting ready to sell my house, and I never thought that I would sell this
Wow.
house. It was my first house, and I wanted to gift it to my son. But it's very true when they say God has a plan for you, because you can't always make all the plans that you want to make, and then that's just life. And so I laughed about it after I cried, and I'm like, you're right, God. Like, I just gotta like go with the flow. But what a blessing that I even have a house to sell. So I look at it that way. But life is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And I love how the reframe of it, that's something that I have been conditioning myself to just kind of like do that when I think of something. We can think of something in like a scarcity mindset or reverse it for an abundance, like, oh, I got to do this, but I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm grateful that I like, especially when I get under the weather or something, and I'm like, oh my
yeah,
god, it just like throws a monkey wrench in like all my plans and blah blah blah, and but
yeah,
then I flip it and I'm like, you know what, I'm grateful that like I can actually have time to rest, and that I
yes.
don't have like all the responsibilities
Mm-hmm.
that maybe I had before or whatever. Like my life is a little bit more of ease, so like I can actually take time to rest, like things like that, just to be able
Yeah,
to have that comfort, um, to help yourself feel a little bit better. So yeah,
yeah, I agree. It's
love it.
definitely how you look at things, I think, in general. You can look at the crappy things that are thrown at you, or you can look at like how normally I feel like I'm 37 now. Every time I've had something horrific happen in my life, other than like awful trauma, like it's always been a blessing in disguise. Like even me going through my divorce 2 months pregnant, like what a blessing in disguise that I'm not stuck with that person miserable, probably both of us for however long. And then my son is seeing a horrific relationship. And now fast forward, we co-parent really well. It just we weren't good for each other. So there's always a silver lining, I think, and it really is important, like perception and like how you think of it. Because if you focus on the bad, you're gonna get bad, and if you focus on the good, like really, it will start to feel good. You'll be like, man, that sucks, but like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of a good interpretation for, or at least me, this is what I see as like maybe abundant living, is being able to see the benefit and how it like, how the universe, how God, how higher power is working
Mm-hmm.
in your favor, like all the time. Like
Yeah.
has, I truly believe that now, actually. So for me, like I grew up in a very like Christian household, and then I deterred from it when I got out here to California, and I just been, and then I got back into it again, circumstances that had me like go back to church and things like that, and then like I retracted from that for a little while, and then so I actually went to church on Easter for the first time in like
Oh,
forever, and it
yeah.
was like, it was just really it was really magnificent being with other people that were worshiping, and like being in
Yeah.
this like place where it was we're just like out of vibration. Like I use a lot of woo
Yeah.
words because like that's my approach, but it was just really amazing being around people that were like just feeling like spirit, right? Just
Yeah.
feeling the spirit, feeling whatever spirit it is you want to call it, like feeling the spirit.
Yeah.
And so it was very uplifting. And then I was just kind of like, you know what, Sarita, like this is an abundant experience, because you
Yeah.
are sitting in like a huge auditorium with a lot of other people that are just having a uplifting like vibrational experience, right? You
Yeah.
don't, like, I don't need to be so detached from it, because I was like,
Yeah.
this is what I needed. So it was like really beautiful. So
But
like,
even if you're not going to church every Sunday, it doesn't mean that you're not doing things, or that you don't have a
right.
relationship with God, or you're not a Christian, or you're not Muslim, or you're not whatever you are. Like it doesn't mean that you're not there, or you have that relationship with the higher power. I think it's kind of unfair when people are like, "Well, what church do you go to?" or like, "When do you go to church?" And for me, we go every Sunday, but that doesn't make me like that's not my relationship. Like that's not who we are. Like there's so many things. I'm praying and I'm meditating and I'm praying with my son at night and I'm doing all those steps. So like I understand, I feel sometimes I detach from it too, and I have this like emptiness in me, but at the end of the day it doesn't mean that like you're any different or your relationship wasn't there.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I've had a relationship with a higher power for a long time, but it was refreshing to like actually have that experience with like other
Yeah.
people as well, because it was like, okay, I haven't had that other than in like women's circles, or when
Yeah.
I'm like meditating in, or having a breathwork class, or in a yoga class and things like that. So it was like, it's really amazing how you can find that like abundance
Yeah.
literally like everywhere, right? Like I love
Absolutely.
it, love it, love it.
It's cool walking into a room being like, oh, I feel it.
Yeah, yeah, it was very, very powerful, and it was exactly what I needed for like the day. So it was really cool. I want to go back to something that you were saying that I think is really really important for people to like understand, where it's like you were saying how some people were seeing you and being like, oh, it just comes easily for her, like
Hmm.
that she's had an easy life. And I found myself like, especially, oh my goodness, social media does this, and like I fall in the social media trap all the time. Like I will see somebody like an influencer, somebody that's like doing really well in their business or in life or whatever, and just be like, oh, they have it so much easier, blah, blah, blah. You don't know the story behind the picture. You don't know the story behind the reel or the
Yeah.
TikTok, all the things. And I really like what you said, where it was like you put in like energy and effort into the things that are like really important to you. And what I was hearing when like you were talking about it, what I was hearing was like, okay, when you are committed to like yourself, and you're committed to like your self-love, your self-care, your like wellness and blah, blah, all the things, right? Those things like the working out and taking care of your skin and like the
Hmm.
hydration and like the meditation, all those things, they become second nature, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
they're almost like a I don't want to say no brainer. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like a non-negotiable,
Yeah.
basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely comes part of like your daily habits. But
Yeah.
sometimes I fall apart. Sometimes I don't do my self-care. Sometimes, like right now, I'm probably the chubbiest I've ever been.
Oh, don't say
Going
that.
to the
It
gym
looks.
is,
By the way, she looked amazing, y'all. Like she is amazing, and you look
oh, thank
amazing right
you.
now. But you look extra stellar in that beautiful dress you're
Oh, thank
wearing, and
you.
you're in your high heels, and you were giving services. Like I was like, wow, what a badass! Like you weren't in scrubs.
And
You were
my feet
like
hurt
doing.
so bad. They still hurt for like since Friday.
I bet,
Oh,
yeah.
so
Tell us a little bit about that, because I had the pleasure of
fun.
observing one of the treatments that was at the expo. It was really cool. I actually saw one of the women like laying down, and she was getting like this facial treatment that was with, I'm guessing, like a like face tightener. I'm not sure, but tell me
Yeah.
a little bit more about like your just a couple of your favorite services, especially that one, because
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
know.
that one's super cool. So, that one's called Trilip by Luminous, and that one is like our bread and butter here. Like, it's our favorite treatment. And we were the first and only in Orange County for probably a year and a half, and now a couple other people have the device, which is
Oh, cool.
super exciting. It's been out for a little over 2 years, and we've had it for about that long. What it is radio frequency, muscle stimulation, and RF microneedling. And so all three of those paired together are like FDA cleared as a non surgical facelift. So lots of skin tightening, lots of lifting. As you saw that girl that was laying down, we are doing muscle stimulation. So it kind of replumps up the cheekbones, we define the jawline. And then that does a little bit of a lift. And then the radio frequency is like significant skin tightening. When you do the neck area, we can shrink fat cells, which is really cool. So you get like no more turkey neck, they call it. You can do it on the body. We have really cool body contouring for it. It helps a little bit with cellulite on the legs. You can literally do anything with it, which is why it's my favorite device in here. And then we also have hydrofacial and peptides for wellness. We have hormone therapy. We test everybody for nutrition, hormones, vitamin deficiency, food sensitivities. We can do all that stuff also. And then we do have like a more holistic approach. Like, there's a lot of treatments in this office that we won't do just because, for one, like we don't believe in it, but also I think that there's better non-invasive options. And so that's kind of like what we're about. And we believe on healing people from the inside out. And beauty does come within. Like, if you're dieting and exercising and keeping hydrated, your skin is going to reflect that, right? So we try to, do meal plans and stuff like that. Like, we really have like a full rounded approach to it. And then, yeah, so the trial is super exciting, and that's what you got to witness. And it's kind of cool because you get an instant lift right away, or you get instant skin tightening. One session is not going to be like the above all, but we recommend at least doing 5 treatments of that. But it's a really cool device, and the fact that this world today is all about like instant gratification, so that kind of provides it, but then it provides like the long term gratification. it's really good for preventative and rejuvenating. So it's amazing.
I love it. Yeah, it looks it looks actually really relaxing.
Yeah, it
when
is actually.
when she was laying there, she was like, oh, like all just
Yeah.
in Zen
They're like,
mode. I
this
thought
is
it was
like a
really neat.
massage.
And I love that. I love having those resources available. And I love that those resources, like communities and locations, like what you're doing is you're providing that experience for people, but that it's also so much more in plenty now. Like you were saying, like you were the first one, and now there's like a couple other spas that have like the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it's become more, I don't want to say mainstream, but I want to say
Like
accessible. Yeah,
yeah.
recognized and accessible to people.
Yeah.
And people are understanding the importance of it as well, like taking care of, yes, I love that beauty comes from within, but also it does take like energy and effort like, to do that, right? So I love that experiences that are available for people now. There's so many like more of them, so that's like really exciting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially like the people that we see, they come in here and they're like, I don't want surgery. Like, I want a facelift, but I don't want to go through the knife,
I don't want to.
So
Yeah.
it's so cool that our industry has so many different non-invasive options now. Like, before it was just nip and tuck and like send you on your way. Now we have so many things to rejuvenate your skin or lift your face or tighten your muscles or build muscles even. It's super cool. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, which also I'm thinking as well is like when the old way of doing it, like the nip and tuck, you did feel more like a number patient, like you're in and you're out. Whereas like you are, like you're seeing somebody like over and over again. So yeah, you're not getting the instant gratification, but you're getting the long term results and like the long term, but also for like your own mental wellness too, because you get to like be with the same people at the same consultation, like the same consulter, and like seeing people that are going to be like part of like a little like community that you've built, people that are regulars and things like that. So it is like people do pay for experiences, like that's like the way of the thinking now. I believe like people are paying for the actual experience versus like, and then the actual like procedure or whatever it is, like for me, like a yoga class or something like that, the experience, like the icing on the cake, in other words, is like, oh, like I'm getting a little bit more fit, right, when I do my yoga class. But like I'm paying for the actual experience of having like a yoga class with other people and doing breath work and stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely, I agree. And I feel like our society is very much like machines now are built to be in that experience. Like, look at Instagram. You can't even have a life that is exciting if you're not competing with these craziness on Instagram. Like, it's definitely a different time in our world, and a lot of people are like on Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So I think that people definitely look at things a little bit differently, and everything's a little more elaborate than it used to be, which also is kind of a curse, I would say. But I mean, for us, we just try to make you your best version of your best self. And I think that everybody is beautiful, and that like we don't need Instagram to tell us what we look like. That's why we're not very plasticky and overfilled and stuff here. We don't specialize in that. Other people do, and they do great. And some people look amazing that way. It's just not what we do. But yeah, I think that it's just like, knowing yourself, loving yourself. And it's cool that we have these experiences. Like, I like going to the cute, bougie, chic things, like, but I also like to just be casual and not have to get dressed to the nines. Like, I don't want to wear heels 24/7. I'm very simple, I think. And going to these events is so fun, but it's also like a lot of anxiety trying to prepare for them and like be looking your best and everybody's looking at you and you're like, hi.
Yeah, on display.
But but I've always been like super raw, and I've never really cared what people think about me. I mean, I care about my reputation, but I've never been like, oh my gosh, they don't like me. I'm like, well, okay, like I don't even know you.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And you wouldn't have been a guest on my podcast if you were like a nip and tuck type of person anyways. Like, so like I like this whole podcast, I call it a wellness and healing podcast. So it's like anything wellness. We're talking about physical wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, wealth wellness. Like we're talking about all the things, and healing is a big part of the journey of what we were told to be to like what we really are claiming to be as like
Yeah.
especially as women. So yes, everything wellness and healing on this podcast. So it's like perfect
Love it.
that you're a guest on this. So
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So, kind of going back to the whole like abundance thing, and I know we had talked about this before. Like you pray with your son. I think that's so amazing that you're like getting him to recognize the importance of having a relationship with a higher entity and all that, and then how has abundance like and you kind of talked about this a little bit, but like in your business, in your life, in your relationships, how has abundance showed up for you? Like, and what does it mean to you? Like, and there's no wrong answer, obviously.
I know it's funny because before this, I was like, what does it mean? Like, it's hard sometimes when someone asks you what something means because you know what it means, but to verbalize it is a different
Yeah.
thing.
How
But
does it feel to you? I mean, even if you want to
yeah,
go into like the feeling, how does abundance feel to you?
yeah, it feels like emotional, amazing, like all the feels, all the vibes. For me, I feel like abundance is we're always putting in, and I teach my son, like before we go to bed, like you said, like we pray and we always say what we're thankful for. And I think
Oh,
gratitude is like huge part of abundance for me anyways. So
yes.
I have all these goals. I've been goal oriented my whole life because I've been in sales and that's like what they train us to be like. But just I think naturally I'm like that too. Like if I don't have a goal that I'm working towards, I don't feel like I'm really relevant. So maybe not relevant, but like I don't feel like secure, I guess. So, anyways, for us or for me, I love giving thanks for everything, whether it's like a coffee that I was able to get today, or like, man, I got like 5 patients today, or they really opened up to me, or we hit our sales goal. And then, you know, in my personal life, like I always want a healthy relationship for my son, for me and his father, for me and my fiance, for him and his ex-wife. Like I just am so big on doing that. So I feel like putting out all these goals or, asking what abundance you want to come, like putting that in the air and praying it to God. Like I feel like that is like kind of the abundance that I'm trying to receive. And then to solidify it, I feel like giving thanks for every little thing, giving gratitude, and then praying and seeking the things that I want abundance in, whether that be personal or relationships or business. I feel like is just really been like how I seek abundance or how I get abundance or how I feel abundance. And then kind of like how you said when you walk into the room when you're in church and you feel all that vibes and all the power going around, like I feel that a lot. Like I'm very vibey when people around me are sucking the energy out of me, like it truly depletes me. And when people are vibing with me or like giving me all that good energy, like I'm obsessed with that. So um I just feel like in my business I feel the same. Like I love all my clients that come in here. They're so sweet and so vibey, and it's like the best. My staff is amazing. We all vibe together, we get along together. And I just think that abundance in general is very, very important for me to teach my son. And obviously, like he's in a private Christian school, and I think that that's a huge part of our life. And I've been blessed that his dad is on the same boat as us when it comes to that, even though he may not be a churchgoer or whatever. But um, I just think that abundance and putting positive energy and thought into the air, whether you're praying or you're just putting it into the universe, I think is really what abundance is about. And then not to forget the gratitude part, because for me, maybe it's in my head, but if I don't give thanks for what I'm thankful for, I feel like I won't be receiving that. And maybe that's in my head, but for me, I think that that's what works for us.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And just going back to the gratitude portion, and you said like two things I think are really important when it comes to abundance is being able to give gratitude for what you have and then also be in like receive mode.
Yeah.
Because if you're not in like receptive receive mode, it's like very hard for you to actually receive more, right?
Yeah.
if you're
No,
not
I
if
agree.
you're not in gratitude. And I think that's actually a line from I think there's some kind of line from the Bible actually, Like, are you
Yes.
grateful for the goods already received or something like that?
Yeah.
So it's like being in gratitude first, and then being able to actually receive like more gifts. Those are two things that I've learned through my own practices. I remember starting a gratitude journal within the last like probably 4 or 5 years or 5 years or so. And it felt really good to like get up and actually like write down like the things that I'm grateful for that I could visually see.
Yeah.
And granted that my gratitude process has changed a little bit. I don't necessarily write as often, but I'm constantly giving gratitude during the day, like in
Yeah.
those moments. So it's just so beautiful. And then, like you said, like being in receiving mode and being able to receive that, like it's like this kind of interesting exchange where it's like you give gratitude, but then you're also like requesting or uh, desiring something that you
Yeah.
just want, and then actually being open to receive that thing, which is so
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely. Like with my business, we've been here for like we've only actually been open for a year and a half because we had a lot of struggles in the beginning. But I will tell you, without me being grateful for every step of the way, and without just being super positive and like telling God what I need and what I want, or even just putting it out in the air that like I'm gonna be successful, I'm gonna, have all these amazing clients come in here and my doors are gonna be open and we're gonna be full, right? Like to be where I am in just a year and a half without being a massive influencer. I'm not a huge doctor. Like I didn't have a following before this. So to be where we are, top 10 provider for TriLift in the nation, like that's
That's awesome.
that by itself like brings me to tears. Like
That's
just to
amazing.
have our doors be open every single month, I would cry and pray to God, like, please God, like one more month, like just give me what I need. I'm getting emotional, like just one more month. And he literally provided every single month. Fast forward 2 years, like I am a little less stressed because we're growing and we're doing like, we're climbing. We're not like in the red anymore. I'm not like, oh my God, we had one client this whole month. Like we started from nothing, but now we're
Yeah.
here and we have a community and we have all this love and support. And I know I wouldn't be here without all the people that came together to love and support me. And without me being positive, without my fiance telling me like, babe, you got this. Like, don't give up, without my friends telling me the same thing, without any of that. So I do think that having that positive mindset contributes to the abundance. And without that, like, I don't think I would be where I am today. And I'm so blessed. And I'm literally thank God every single day. And I thank God for my son every single day. So I just, yeah, huge, huge supporter of it.
That's amazing. What a beautiful testimony
Yeah.
to have had something that put into action, you put into like you put the human footsteps into and like trust the process and all the things and stretching you to become a better person throughout the whole thing. And like
Yeah.
now it's like you're seeing the fruit of abundance from like your energy and
Yeah.
effort that you put into it. So that is so
Absolutely.
amazing. Keep
And what
hanging in there.
you?
Like it's a good reminder to me as well, where it's just like those days when I'm just like, ugh, what am I doing
Yeah.
with my life?
Yeah.
But then, but
I've
then
been
it's just
there.
like, but then it's like remembering, okay, like look how far I've come, look how far I've made it, and it's just, it is a good reminder. It's a good testament to
Yeah.
like, the energy that you put into
And
it.
what's
That's
cool
so
is I can
beautiful.
give back now. Like I have other people who are just getting TriLift devices asking me like how I made it, because I literally TriLift was my first device. So I started a new business with an expensive device and I was like, how do I do this? But now I have all the tools and I love sharing and I love helping all these people. And I'm so honored that they would come to me and be like, hey, like, how are you doing this? Like, and not even just with that, but with this business in general. Like, I love being able to share that.
That's so beautiful. Like being kind of like a mentor type of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
fun.
that's so cool. I know it's amazing to be able to speak from experience and like share and be like, this has been my journey, and
Yeah.
like this has been the way that things have panned out for me. It may not look like that for you, but here's my like, contribution or, to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be able to connect with people, like we're all struggling. This is not peaches and cream for anybody, no matter what business you have. And to get to the top is a long journey, a long, tough journey. And I would just say to anybody listening, like, do not give up. Like, follow your dreams. And if there's naysayers, prove them wrong. I can't tell you how many people probably knew me in high school be like, oh, you ain't shit, you're not going anywhere. Now I'm like, okay, well, like, I can't even believe I'm where I'm at today. So it's like, don't let those people bring you down.
Yeah.
You're your own vibe and your own person, and you have your own track record to place. Like, you will get there. Just keep fighting.
I agree. And actually, that's like, you keep answering my questions before I ask them, which is amazing. Like, we're on the same wavelength. How cool is that? That is so badass. So my last and final question usually is like, what words of advice would you give to somebody that is going through like a similar experience, a similar journey? Doesn't necessarily need to be like entrepreneur or whatever. Like all the things you've been through. Like one of the things you said is not, keep at it. If you have any other nuggets of wisdom, would love to hear.
I mean, I don't know if I have nuggets of wisdom. I just know that like there was times where I was crying to my fiance being like, what the hell am I doing? I put all my money into this. My credit is declining. Like, starting a business was a lot harder than I thought it was, but all I did was pray and remember like why I did it. Like I did it because I want to make a difference. I want to help people. I want to see the faces that I get to see today with their results and being like celebrating together. Like this is why I started it. And he's so great that he reminds me all the time, but like don't lose track of what you're doing, your reason, right? And most of my reason in the beginning and still today is that my son, like I was a single mom. I had no clue what I was doing, even being a mom. Like I'm like newly divorced, have a baby. I want to make my life successful and I had a good career, but I didn't see myself being there until I was like dying, right? Like I don't know if I could retire doing that, right? So I wanted to make sure that I had my son set up for life and I could not fail. Like I could not fail and tell my son like, sorry, mommy couldn't do it. So I feel like that really pushed me. But at the end of the day, it is about like just following whatever you want to do and doing it, whether it's big or small or huge, like power, millionaire, billionaire, whatever it is. Like you can get there. Half the millionaires didn't even finish high school. So don't let anybody tell you anything, especially when they have no business or no knowledge in the industry that you're achieving.
Agreed. Well said. Said. I love that. Yes. Shannon, thank you so much for this amazing interview, connection podcast episode. It's been phenomenal. It's been very uplifting to me, and I hope it's been that way for everybody else that's been listening or catching this on YouTube and watching. Yeah. Despite having Mercury retrograde and technology issues, so apologize if there's a little bit of jumble in like the last part of the episode. We'll try our best to, do everything. So you went with it. So I really appreciate that despite all the technological like hiccups that we've had today. But thank you so much for being here today. I'm so like excited for you with like everything that you've gone through and everything that you have yet to, to experience. And every single thing you said, like I was like, wow, this is like just exactly what I've been needing to hear. So
oh, thank you. Honestly, this was like therapeutic for me too. So I loved being on here. This was a blessing for our first podcast for me because it felt like so normal and I don't feel like I was as nervous as I thought I was going to be. And it was so fun talking to you and I love our vibe and I'm being on the same page and answering each other's questions.
Oh my God. How amazing is that? That was brilliant. I've never had anybody do that before. So I thought that was pretty neat. That was pretty neat. Yes, right? That's so cool. That was so cool. Well, Shannon, thank you so much. It's been wonderful. And everybody, thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you on the next episode. And as always, keep being the amazing you that you are. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, love. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you adored what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review on the platform you are listening to this episode on. By doing this, you are helping my mission to impact other women with their healing journeys. If you aren't already following me on social media, make sure to connect with me at Sarita Wellness to get your weekly dose of inspiration. I can't wait to be with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, keep being the amazing you that you are.